Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who flew to the United States at President Joe Biden's invitation to participate in the first in-person Quad summit, has arrived in Washington a short while ago. The Prime Minister has a packed schedule, as he's also, apart from bilateral meetings, he's also going to be addressing the United Nations General Assembly. Prime Minister Modi received a warm welcome from the members of the Indian community at the Joint Air Base Andrews in Washington, D.C. He stepped out of his motorcade to interact with Indians who were waiting at the airport. We'll just play up those visuals for you. That's, of course, Prime Minister Modi stepping down at in Washington. Prime Minister, remember, is there for a 3-day visit. He's going to be holding several key bilateral meetings. On the agenda today, he's going to be meeting the Australian Prime Minister for a bilateral, Scott Morrison, and he's also going to be holding meetings with global CEOs. So those are pictures of the Indian diaspora there waiting to meet Prime Minister Modi. He stepped out of his motorcade and, of course, met with the Indian diaspora that were waiting there to greet him. Now, this is Prime Minister Modi's first visit abroad beyond the neighbourhood since the outbreak of coronavirus. And like I said, Prime Minister has a packed schedule, individual meetings with global CEOs, a bilateral meeting with the Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison scheduled for today. As far as tomorrow, well, Prime Minister is going to be holding a bilateral with Kamala Harris, the Vice President, and a bilateral with Yoshihide Suga, the Japanese Prime Minister. That's on the schedule for tomorrow.
Prime Minister's visit to United States has 6 elements, 6 broad elements. So first is, of course, the bilateral meeting with President Biden. Second is the meeting with the Vice President Kamala Harris. Third is the Quad summit. Fourth is the interactions with Prime Ministers of Australia and Prime Minister of Japan separately. Then there is an interaction with select industry leaders. And finally, there is the UN section.